Welcome. On behalf of our athletic staff at Sabetha High School, we'd like to welcome you to this year's athletic banquet. Since last year's athletic banquet, so much has happened. Last spring, immediately after our athletic banquet, our golf and baseball teams brought home league championships and also state championships. Our track team brought home several state medals, and they did this all in a spring that saw all of these state events extended over a 5-day period due to weather. If you look in your athletic banquet, which a link is attached to the video that you are watching tonight, you will see that Sabetha has presently won the 2019 and 2020 All Sports Trophy. If you also look, you'll see that prior to the spring events, which were canceled, we won 3 league championships, those being in football, volleyball, and boys cross country. Before I get started, I'd like to make some special recognitions. If you refer to your program inside the front cover, there's a list of people we would like to acknowledge. Next, I would like to thank Madeline Weiner and all of her help and efforts to put forth towards our athletic banquet program. Sabetha offers 14 sports, and within those 14 sports, 400 kids have participated this past year. If we made a mistake on the program, we apologize, but we also ask that you would let us know so that we can edit it and run off a copy for your scrapbook. Some groups of people that I'd like to thank this year include our kitchen staff, our custodial staff, our Board of Education, our high school administration, the office staff, and all those within the district who volunteered each and every night to run off these events. I would like to thank our athletic booster club for spending countless hours in helping run off all these events. Those members include Loretta Boozer, Daryl Becker, Nikki McAfee, Darren George, Wendy Mennel, Harold Smelsley, and John Pearson. If you look at the back of your athletic program, you'll see the Booster Club financial report from this past year. As you'll notice, the Booster Club invests a lot of money in our school activities. This past year, they spent over $8,000 to help our athletic program. Lastly, I'd like to thank Mr. Bauman. Mr. Bauman used his technology expertise to help me put this program online. Without him, we wouldn't have this event. This year was another exceptional year of participation and achievement at Sabetha High School. Our athletic programs are comprised of young men and women who are motivated, dedicated, and determined to carry on the tradition of excellence that has been set by those who come before them. Through participation in sports, they have learned to be unselfish in order to achieve a common goal and what it means to encourage and support their teammates. They have learned to push themselves both mentally and physically beyond what they even thought was possible. They have learned to balance their time between academics and athletic pursuits so that they can demonstrate excellence in both. They have learned to handle stress and gain confidence through continued effort to improve their skills for the good of the team. They have learned to play by the rules and perform with integrity and to win and lose with dignity and grace. They have learned how life sometimes throws us a curve and how our attitude and response to those circumstances can have a positive, lasting impact on those we are around. On behalf of the coaches and sponsors, I want to say thank you for representing our school and community in a way that we can all be proud of. For this reason, we are honoring you tonight. This year, as we have done in the past, we are going to ask each head coach to give a short summary of the highlights of their season. Our head football coach, Garrett Michael, will share with us the 2019 Sabetha Blue Jay football season. Our football team won the 2019 Big 7 League Championship. First up, Coach Michael.
Hi, I'm Garrett Michael, head coach of Sabetha football, and we're doing this virtually. It's not as good as being in person, but we'll just have to get by with what we can. I'm going to highlight some things that happened in the 2020 football season, but first I'd like to thank a few people. First, I'd like to thank our parents for the commitment and the time and everything that they've given to this program to make it what it is today. I want to thank the painting crew for the awesome job they do on our football field. There's a lot of guys that have a hand in that, and I'd leave somebody out if I mentioned all their names, but we sure do appreciate how our field looks compared to when we go to other places. I'd like to thank Scott and Summer Garber for mowing the game field and the practice field. That takes a burden off my shoulders during the year and during the summer. Also like to thank our filmers, Dave Herbster, Steve Boozer, Jason Steiner, and Bob Steiner. They do a great job, and when we get film from other teams, it's not hard to compare that we have the best film crew in the state. I'd also like to thank my wife for all the support and my kids for all the support that they give me during the season. I'd like to thank my assistant coaches and their wives because they make this engine run. Nate and Becky Bauman, Alex and Nikki McAfee, Caleb and Sky Moeller, Josh and Claire Wertenberger, Aaron and Amber Fry. I thank you for all the hard work and dedication that they put into this program. This year our 2020 team went 6-3, and I thought they got a lot better as the season went on, and every game they just fought tooth and nail. Even the times that we were down 14 points or 21 points, it just seemed like nothing fazed them, and they came back and just kept playing the whole game, and I really appreciate that. To our seniors, I thank them for their leadership and their dedication for 4 years of summer weights and just the blood, sweat, and tears that they've put into this program to continue having this be a successful season. Our JV went 4-4. They started out, I believe, 0-3, and then they made a run at the end. I think they went 3-0 to even their record at 4-4. And so it gives great hope to me and the staff for the future, as even though they started out slow, they ended strong, and that's what we talk about all the time. We had 64 players out and 3 managers. Our managers were Cody Meyer, Spencer Strom, Keenan Lippert, and Landon Carr, and they did a great job keeping me on task, and I couldn't be more appreciative of their efforts. This season, I think one of the highlights for me was watching our team play against Perry and Marysville and being down 14 points, being down 21 points, and coming back and winning one of the games, and losing a hard-fought contest to Marysville by 7 points and just couldn't close the gap, but I was very proud of their efforts. You can see in the program of the All-League and the All-State honors, and every one of those kids that got that were well-deserved. I do want to highlight some special honors that Gabe Garber got. Gabe Garber was selected to play on the East Shrine Bowl team this year. That will be played at the end of July at Washburn University. He was also selected Offensive Player of the Year by Sports in Kansas. He was selected in the Topeka Capital Journal in the top 22 players in all class, all state. And then he was selected by the Kansas Football Coaches Association as part of their top 11 all class, all state players as a quarterback and linebacker. I want to end with these seniors. They didn't end their school year quite on the note that they wanted to, but they ended their football career very successfully. Their freshman year, their year ended with losing to the 3-time defending state champion in Rossville. And their sophomore and junior year, they ended their season helping us win back-to-back state championships. They won their junior year and their senior year. They won back-to-back Big 7 league championships. That was the first time since 1996 or 1997 that a team had done that in Sabetha school history. They had a 23-game win streak they were a part of, and anytime you can do that in high school athletics, that is a phenomenal feat. They beat the 2020 2A state champion, and they beat the 2020 3A state runner-up in the same year, so I'm very proud of that. This class is the 8th straight class to make the playoffs in football all 4 years of their career. Their total record in high school football is 41-6, and they had only lost 3 home games in their total of 4 years. I'm very proud of them. I think this class ends their career as champions on the field or on the course or on any athletic playing field, and I think this will carry over into their life, and I hope they can take one thing from faith, family, and football, and if they can do that, they'll be champions in life. Thank you.
Abby Stevie finished her 3rd year as our girls volleyball coach. She will share highlights of an exciting season where the Lady Jays won the 2019 Big 7 League Championship and finished with their best record in many years.
Hey, Coach Stevie here to honor this year's 2019 team. Though the school year has been cut short, lives changed, and history made, we can always look fondly back on our time as a team together and rocking it. First off, I want to thank all those who supported us throughout the year. Parents, managers, scores table workers, line judges, Mr. Glenn, Mr. Berger, all the bus drivers, community, and then extended community. Thank you. As all of you know, all my kids know, I think of you as my own kids. Every year I'm continually impressed by the growth, the competitive spirit, and the grit from individual players that I see throughout the year. Volleyball is unique in the sense that we compete sometimes for an entire day, competition multiple times in one day, one right after another, and you know that type of demand leads to physical and mental fatigue, and we work the entire season to combat that fatigue, so we can compete at our highest potential in every competition. This year, not only did we focus on getting more reps, more touches, but we also, stepped up our playing capacity. We added new defenses, new strategies, new offensive expectations. We asked more communication from you. We added spot serving. We added so many more aspects to our game. That alone is an impressive feat for a team to take on, but in addition to that, we had 7 seniors, all who played on the court at any given time. And that is rare, and it speaks volumes to the type of culture and program you have helped build. I wish I could see you all standing before me while I kind of speak these last parting words to you as your coach, but this will have to do. Seniors, you helped lead this team to the best finish in school history, 32-9, excuse me. You were underclassmen when I first spoke about building this program into one of respect, tradition, character, and family. You did not disappoint. You can be proud that you were part of a first place league finish, a first place sub-state ranking, and a second place sub-state finish, and a family that you'll never forget. Thank you, seniors, for all your dedication to this school's volleyball program. To the rest of the team, many who were instrumental in helping elevate the seniors to their success. JV competed at a high level, losing only 7 games again this year. That's a repeat from last year. 7 games again this year, and placing at each weekend tournament. C-team competing in many sets, winning close games. Speaking on behalf of Coach Cole and Coach Suter, we saw every player improve in some way. And I challenge you to prepare mentally, to prepare physically, to match these seniors' intensity and drive next season to begin where we left off and make next year even better. Thank you.
Our girls and boys cross-country team this year was directed by Coach Doug Leiker. Our boys cross-country team also won the 2019 Big 7 League Championship. Here is Coach Leiker.
2019 cross-country was a very good year for us. We had our boys finished first in the league for the first time for a few years. They ended up getting third at regionals and finishing third at regionals, which then took them to state for the third year in a row, which is a pretty big deal for us. Our girls, we had two senior girls this year, Mahaley Allen and Madison Cochran. Madison ran all 4 years, Mahaley 3 years. Also then we had Charlie Bestwick, Darren Funk, Ellen Glenn, Hattie Lukert, Braden Menold, Kenzie Meyer, Spencer Strom, Tyrese Bishop, Blake Bowser, Memphis Cochran, Jaden Dorn, Cameron Harold, Paul Pearson, Carly Harder, and Jesse McGinnis. You can look on the program and see how they finished throughout the season. The main one I want to talk about is league. Charlie finished 13th at league. Hattie got pulled out of league because she had a hamstring pull right before, and I felt like it was best for her not to run and to be ready for regional and the state meet, which she qualified for to go to state. Braden ended up 8th at league. Spencer was 12th. Tyrese ended up 3rd. Jaden Dorn was 7th at league for us, and Cameron Harold finished 6th. Those league finishers that I mentioned were all league runners, and that was a big deal winning the league for the first time with me as a coach. One of the main things that we talk about is run as one, work as a team, and finish as a family. Some of the things we do to help us to get that is to run on hills on Monday. We ran up and down number 9 and up and down 8 also. We did repeat quarters on Mondays and repeat halves some this year. Another thing that we do that is kind of important is the night before the meet we have a kind of a cross-country party is what we call it, spaghetti party, or a meal before they run that next day, which helps us to become a family, which is big. A big part of cross-country is becoming a family. Our runners did a great job this year learning to run as a pack, and I think they understand if they run as a pack that it helps our team. They ran as a pack at Hiawatha and finished first. They ran as a pack in our league meet and did well and finished first. And also at regionals, they packed up pretty good. And then at state, they packed up, but state is a very difficult meet to work out in. Very pleased with a lot of our runners. They did a great job this year. I also want to thank our patrons that helped us at the Sabetha Invitational Cross Country Meet this year, and our parents that also helped at that, and Mr. Berger who helped run that thing and did a great job. Great season. Looking forward to next year, and peace out, I guess. That's all I have.
Our last fall sport was tennis. Our tennis team had another good performance this year with many athletes coming in with some great records. To talk about the 2019 season is Coach Dieters.
Hi ladies, I really cannot believe I'm reading this speech for this group of girls. Time goes by so fast, let alone in these circumstances. want to first start off with thanking Leah, administration, transportation, for helping the season run smoothly. A shout out to Megan, Olivia, and Grace. Grace and Olivia, good luck in your next adventure. In the program, you will see all the results and the finishes from the tournaments and meets. I want to recognize the underclassmen this year. Lauren Gates, Ashlyn Minold, Nicole Stahlbaumer, Hadley Augabright, Chloe Minold, Madison Minold, Sophia Meyer, Emma Schilling, Rachel Wartenberger, Samantha Arnold, Kate Byer, Gracie Ann Gillespie, Abby Lawson, Jaden Kaler, and Cameron Uni. Girls, continue to push each other. The future is yours. The 2019 state participants were Deborah Edelman and Nicole Stahlbaumer. They qualified for state in Kansas City by placing in the top 6 at the Hillsborough Regional. Seniors, all 11 of you, Deborah Edelman, Rachel Kramer, Amber Minold, Kinsey Minold, Olivia Meyer, Emily Murchison, Gracie Robinson, Bree Voos, Janelle Winger, Hannah Wartenberger, and Hannah Whitaker. I came up with words that I thought represented you individually and as a team. Flexible. With 11 seniors, you had to be flexible with the scheduling, court time, and when it was your time to shine. Friendship. How lucky I am and how lucky you are having something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Adversity. Just like now, during this season, you overcame adversity, whether it was sickness, court time, or meet results. Do not fear the winds of adversity. Remember, a kite rises against the wind rather than with it. Chance. You took chances with partners. The game of tennis. The risk you're afraid to take could be the one that changes your life. 2019 senior girls, continue to be flexible. Keep old friends but make new. Take chances and always hit adversity head on. Thanks for allowing tennis to be a little bit of who you are. I'll miss you, girls.
To start the winter season, Coach Creek will highlight a wrestling season that placed third at league and sent 3 wrestlers to state competition. Here is Coach Creek.
All right, this year was an exciting year. We not only had our guys season, but we also had the first year for girls wrestling, where we had 4 girls that finished the season with us, and we had several others that had tried it out, but it just wasn't for them. For our guys team, we had 2 seniors, a junior, 2 sophomores, which one of them was hurt, and a ton of freshmen. Without the upperclassmen and having so many of the underclassmen, it really created a unique environment in the wrestling room and provided some new challenges and opportunities that we haven't had in the past few years. So with wrestling, it's a little bit of a unique twist on some sports. Just like every other sport, we have our practices and games, but they also have to maintain weight. And while most people think of wrestling, they think of losing weight, we actually had the issue of kids being too light and needing to gain weight. One of the instances that sticks out is at league, where we had Landon, who weighed in 165, decided to bump up to 195 to help fill the spots on our team so that we could compete for a league title. And so he had to weigh above 175 pounds, so he had to gain 10 pounds in approximately 2 days. And so watching him try to drink as much water as he could, and with the help of a couple steel plates, he was able to make weight. But what was even more entertaining was the reaction to the kid from Holton that he wrestled that couldn't figure out why he was so much smaller than the other 195-pounder that he was wrestling. Another interesting part of wrestling is, unlike sports like football and where you have to qualify for postseason regionals, sub-state, those in wrestling, every varsity wrestler will qualify for regionals. And so we really start out with trusting the process, that where you're at right now, even though we may not be winning matches, it'll still come. Those wins will come, and at the end of the year, we're going to be wrestling our best matches. And this is with all of these freshmen, that's what they did. They trusted the process. We have 2 seniors that neither one of them competed on varsity as freshmen, but both of them were state qualifiers. And so to throw a freshman in on a varsity level is something that doesn't happen a whole lot. By the end of the season, when we got to regionals, all those freshmen that we had, all of them won matches, and we had 5 that got beat out. One match, just a couple points away from qualifying for state. It was exciting to see that what's returning for next year and only having to lose, but losing our 2 seniors. On the girls' side of things, we had 4 girls, Irish, Vivian, Kylie, and Abby. And what I'd have to guess is probably the only undefeated dual season that has ever occurred at Sabetha High School. They went 6-0, I believe it was 6-0, and never lost a duel. We dueled Burlington and Holton and some other of these big wrestling schools, and they never lost a duel. And just like the boys, they all came in. Other than Kylie, nobody had ever wrestled before, and so it was a new skill set that they had to develop. And they did. They trusted that process, and come regional time, we only had 3. Abby got hurt, and so she wasn't able to compete at regionals, but the 3 that did all came within a match or 2 of qualifying, and we had our first ever sanctioned girls state qualifier in Vivian. At their regional tournament, there was 60-plus teams in our side of the regional, and so for them to be able to place in the top 8, top 10 was extremely huge, very difficult, especially being a first-year wrestler. And these girls, you never had to worry whether they gave it their all. They came out, win or lose, and they had fun. At state, state's always tough. In Vivian's state tournament, the first ever girls' state, she didn't place, but the other 5 girls from her regional place. She was in the toughest regional for her weight, and she wrestled fantastic. On the guys' side, we had Caden and Walker qualify for state, and Caden ended up coming home 5th, avenging a loss that he had the week before for a league title over the kid from Perry Lecompton. And then Walker wrestled really, really, really well at state, but he was in one of the toughest weights there and just fell into the kids that ended up taking 3rd and 5th. And so he lost to the 2 best kids that were on his side of the bracket. For our seniors, we have 3 seniors that are graduating this year, Vivian, and then the 2 boys, Walker and Colby. Vivian, this was her first year wrestling, and I just wish we had a couple more years that she could continue to improve. But she came up to me a couple weeks before season started, her and another student, and said, hey, we want to, or as they walked up to me, they said, hey, we have a question for you. And I said, absolutely, you can be a manager. I need one. Let me know. And they stopped and kind of caught them off guard, and they said, no, we want to wrestle. And I am so glad they made that decision, that they came out and she wrestled and was the first state qualifier. Colby and Walker. Colby, his first couple years while I was coaching, he had torn ACLs and MCLs, and his knees are all torn up. And he finally came back, got healthy, and qualified for state last year. This year, going back again to our weight issue, Colby would have been a perfect 170-pounder, but Walker was there. And so he bumped up to that next weight class and wrestled at 182 pounds. The difference between 170 and 182 is a lot. And so for Colby to do as well as he did, giving up that much weight was incredible. And Walker last year was a state placer, fought hard at regionals, came back and avenged some losses at regionals last year and placed at state. And this year he pinned his way through the regional tournament and got to state and just ran into some really, really good kids. So it's gonna be different not having those seniors back in the room again next year. The confidence that they bring, the leadership that they had, the the way that they were able to control the room, and especially with all those freshmen, they really took charge and were good leaders and showed the underclassmen what it takes to be successful at the highest level. And so we're going to miss them next year. I think that's it.
Our next winter sport was the girls basketball program. Nate Bauman, our new varsity girls coach, will share highlights of another great season by the Lady Jays as they finished the year 19-4 and won the Burlington Invitational Tournament.
Hi, I'm Nate Bauman, head coach of the Lady Jays basketball team. Wish we could all be together and doing this in person, but we'll do what we can with this. So I wanted to highlight the Lady Jays basketball season. Wanted to start off with a list of thank yous, and I'm sure I'm going to forget somebody, but I want to make sure I said these. First person I wanted to thank, I was meaning to do this in person and have done it in person, but in front of everybody, is I want to thank Coach McAfee for allowing me to learn under him for 17 great years. And I want to make sure I thank my assistant coaches, Garrett Michael and Clayton Tennell, for their energy and passion and work that they did this season. I want to thank certainly our families, our wives, Becky, Dana, and Joe, just for the time that they give up during the season and during really all year long, during the summer as well. So I want to make sure I thank the parents. The parents really stepped up this year and gave us got food for our road games. That was really important to the girls, I know, but also just for your support of our busy basketball schedule. I want to make sure I thank our managers. They don't get enough credit. We had 6 managers that helped us throughout the year: Olivia Warren, Nikki Kinsey, Grace Enneking, Hattie Lukert, Sophia Meyer, and Emily Herman. That's a really selfless job that they take on. They help us in practice, run the clock, and keeping stats in games and filming, so it's really important. I appreciate everything they've done for us. And then, of course, I want to thank our players for their sacrifice, their work ethic, their coachability, and for just their leadership in making this season as fun as it could be. I got a few highlights just for each group. The freshman team was coached by Clayton Tennell. They went 15-1, first place in the Big Seven, won their midseason tournament. Just really a fun group to watch. They play extremely selfless. They're tough, and we're really looking forward to what they'll do for us on the varsity court in the next few years. The JV squad is coached by Garrett Michael. They went 18-1, first place in the Big Seven again, and also won their tournament that was in February. Every single player on that team made great improvement from last year to this year, and I'm sure that's because they have a much better JV coach this year. So that was good to see, and we're excited about what they can do for us in the future as well. And then the varsity team went 19-4, second place in the Big Seven. For those of you that weren't keeping track there, that was 52-6 overall program record this season for the Lady Jays, so that's certainly something to be proud of. Some on-the-court highlights from the season. We started with team camp back in June and a trip to Riley County for a tournament, both varsity and JV. We won the MAYB tournament in Holton. The varsity group did. We started the season with an exciting 3-point win over Marysville, a good Marysville team, and that led us to a 6-0 start to the season. In the middle of the season, we had a 9-game winning streak that included our second consecutive Burlington Invitational Tournament championship. So we're really proud of that and won that in fairly convincing fashion. I think the average margin of victory was 34 points in that tournament, so the girls really played well down there. Had several girls make the all-tournament team. We finished the season with an 11-3 record and second place in the Big Seven, and then just a hard-fought sub-state runner-up finish to a team that ended up being the only undefeated team in 3A this season. So, and we lost to them 3 times. So it was unfortunate we couldn't get over that hump, but certainly gave it a great run. I also wanted to mention just a few records that were set, I guess, or where the girls will be in the record books for years to come. We've got 40 years of Lady Jays basketball records, thanks to Coach Berger and Coach McAfee for keeping those up over quite a period of time. So in 40 years of Lady Jays basketball, the overall Lady Jays record is 585 and 233. That's a 72% winning percentage, which is incredible. Of those 40 seasons, this season was the 12th best in Lady J's history with our 19-4 record as far as winning percentage goes. We had the 5th largest margin of victory in a game with our 60-point win over Caney Valley, 7th most points scored in a game with 76 over Caney Valley as well. And then individually, Melina Schumann cracks the top 15 with the 13th most three-pointers made in a season with 30, and Maggie Hughes, 3rd most three-pointers made in a season with 47 this season. Probably we don't have this stat, but if we did, I would guess our team three-point field goals made was probably also a Lady J's record, but we don't have those stats necessarily. Some off-the-court highlights from the year included our summer leadership council meeting. That was really good to hear from the girls and have them get some input into our program. Then we went to Biddy Ball, coaching, refereeing, scorekeeping for 40-plus 3rd through 6th grade girls, filling boxes of Christmas gifts for children in third world countries with Operation Christmas Child. We joined with the Holton girls to serve at the Topeka Rescue Mission and also have some fun, some bowling and eating pizza. That was a lot of fun. The meals from moms after games and before our Saturday games, breakfast at Buzz, and then, of course, there's only one word needed here, IHOP. IHOP is big. So needless to say, we like to eat. Those were a lot of our off-the-court highlights. So it was just a great year, a fun first year for me. I wanted to say just quickly to the seniors, I can't thank you enough for the way you led our team this season. We started way back in June with that meeting, and you talked about what you wanted from the team this season, and we came up with the SOUL acronym that we felt encapsulated everything we wanted to achieve, and you guys did that. It's really easy to come up with something like that. It's much more difficult to follow through with it and live it out, and you did that. Selflessness, ownership, unity, and larger purpose. I hope you take those with you as you go on to greater things. Continue to put other selves first, be accountable for your actions, love others greatly, and live for some larger purpose greater than just yourself. Those are the things that team sports can teach you if you let them, and the things that you led our team through so well. Thank you again for being my first senior class. I couldn't have asked for a better one. To the returners, it's now your turn. Your turn to lead this storied and tradition-rich program into another great season, not just by the measure of our record, but also by the measure of how much we can enjoy the journey together. So thanks for listening here, and go Blue Jays.
Over the course of the year, 10 young ladies and their coach spent countless hours encouraging and leading our school with great enthusiasm and school spirit. Their coach, Mrs. Kay Duncan, will now share highlights of the cheerleading season.
First, let me start with this quote. You don't always need a plan. Sometimes you just need to breathe, trust, let go, and see what happens. That quote says so much about what we are facing this moment dealing with this pandemic. We had a busy year as usual, from cookie dough fundraiser last May to cheer camp in June, on to concession stands at the ballpark in the summer. We really don't have much time off for our year-round sport. We had several cold nights cheering for football and dodging the rain for our middle school cheer clinic. Unfortunately, we had a little more of a break between football and basketball season, which gave us a little more time to be prepared for our kick line routine. Then shortly after, first of the year, our elementary cheer clinic, in which we had approximately 80 girls participate. Cheering for basketball went rather well, for the most part, until a pair of spandex or shoes or a uniform top or forgotten palms were left at home. Burlington is always a good team bonding and fun time. Even though we finished cheering on our Blue Jays for our regular season, our trip to Emporia to perform at a state basketball game was canceled, which brings us to our first ever completing tryouts totally online. I'm already looking forward to next season and what it will bring us. I'd like to thank this year's squad for finishing the year strong. Thanks to seniors Aaron Howard, Leah Deckinger, juniors Kaylee Bergman, Lauren Gates, Haley Kramer, Madeline Weiner, sophomores Kennedy Mitchell, Emma Schilling, and freshmen Demelia Funk and Gracie Ann Glaspie. At camp, they were all nominated for our All-American team. Aaron received a friendship award, and then team-wise also served many other team awards. So I just want to thank you to all who support us and all our team, halftime performances, and fundraising. Thanks Shuri Grimm for taking care of a lot of money things that go Pink shirts. They worked hard on several events such as cookie dough sales, football spaghetti feed, basketball taco meal, and the SMS and SCS cheer clinics. Thank you to all the parents for your support all year long. I would also like to give a shout out to Alyssa Dollinghouse for running the music for several of our performances. And to our seniors, Captain Aaron Howard and Captain Leah Deckinger, your leadership will be a hard act to follow. It allowed me to watch you grow, not only your cheer skills, but as leaders, team members, and thoughtful adults. I hope you not only learn cheer stuff from all your years of cheering at SHS, but also how to be true and honest with yourself, and also how to communicate and be supportive with your peers in everyday life situations. On our last senior cheer coach meeting was an eye-opener to see how you are great individuals, how the both of you are. Thanks for such a strong ending to a long season. Good luck to you both in your future endeavors. Good luck to Leah in the medical field, and keep using that strong personality in this positive way. Aaron, good luck cheering at the next level at Peru State, and keep using your great organizational skills to get through radiology program and life in general. Remember to always take a deep breath if life is a little bumpy, and keep that crown from slipping, and also point your toes and smile.
Our last winter sport is boys basketball. To start with, I'd like to thank my two assistant coaches, Coach Wertenberger and Coach Adalin. These two have been with our program several years, and I appreciate all they do. I would also like to thank their wives and mine on being our biggest supporters during this long 4-month season. I would also like to thank 3 young men, Cody Meyer, Spencer Strom, and Keenan Lippert, as they do all the work behind the scenes to make our season successful. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge our freshman team. The freshman boys finished with 11-7 record, winning 8 of their last 9 games to place second in the Big 7 League. They improved each game and capped their season with an exciting win over Nemaha Central, who won the Big 7 League in the final game of the year. Our JV team also made great strides as their season progressed. This is a group that looked totally different from game 1 to the end of the season. 4 of their starters from game 1 played very little as the season went along, as they were promoted to the varsity level. This team, led by Coach Wertenberger, made the necessary adjustments, continued to improve, and by the end of the year, we're playing some great basketball. Our varsity team had another good season. We finished 10-11 overall. We placed second at the Burlington tournament. During the midseason, we won 7 of 8 games. We were playing great basketball by the end of the year. This team had great attitudes and chemistry. They played for each other and their school, and that's all a coach can ask from his team. Some individual awards won included Braden Argerbright and Gabe Garber receiving league honors and being selected to the Highland All-Star Game. Also, Gabe was selected to the second team Class 3A basketball team. Some highlights for me in our coaching staff include watching this team lead 40 plus 3rd through 6th graders during our biddy ball season. Each biddy ball date, almost every player on our team showed up. Coach encouraged and formed relationships that will last a lifetime. It touched our coaching staff's hearts to see this and realize what a great group of men we had. Having a group of players that didn't take a day off at practice, our goal was to get better each day. This team definitely did that. They could have quit when they were 2-6, but they bonded together and they finished strong. Having 6 seniors that set the bar for excellence with their leadership and work effort. These 6 young men included Braden Argerbright, Andrew Frazee, Gabe Garber, Jordan Gates, Caleb Graham, and Cody Meyer. I would like to thank each one of these guys personally for all the time and commitment they have given to the Sabetha High School boys basketball program. In closing, I'd like to thank every basketball player, manager, and statistician for making 2019-2020 a great one for myself, Coach Wertenberger, and Coach Adalin. Your devotion to our program, school, and teammates is something that you will always look back onto with great pride. Thank you. This spring, our track, golf, baseball, and softball teams did not get to compete. Our hopes were high as we had two-time defending state champions not able to defend their titles. The first spring sport we're going to visit about is softball. Coach Massey, who will be leaving Sabetha to a new job, has been our coach for the first 4 years of our program. I would like to thank her for all she has done and wish her much success during her next step in life. Here is Coach Massey.
I'd first like to thank all the parents, Jeremy's team from the City of Sabetha, the Saylor family for showing continuous support to our growing program. Jeremy and the City of Sabetha have always done a lot of hard work to make our facilities the top of the line. Thank you to my assistants, Clayton Tennell and Jason Meyer. Last season, we had a couple girls who made postseason honors. Trista Argabright made first team All-League catcher. Maggie Hughes made first team All-League infield. Throughout the years, the past 3 years, we have seen girls grow their softball skills. Our players' dedication to our program and their teammates is unbelievable. Our 5 seniors this year have been here since the beginning, and even though it was cut short, I know that they would have had put their last year in perfectly. So thank you to our seniors, Grace Enneking, Rachel Kramer, Maggie Hughes, Mahaley Allen, and Sophia Kinsey. Thank you, guys.
Our baseball team was ready to compete its 4th year also. The last 2 years, Coach Fry has led Sabetha to consecutive state championships. Here is Coach Fry.
First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to Stan and Donna and all the Kimes for making baseball possible in Sabetha. Without their commitment, we wouldn't have ever had any of this. So thank you very much, and I'm forever grateful. I want to give a big thank you to my assistant coaches, Doug Garrett, Garrett Michael, and Nathan Bauman for coaching for us this year. They always do a fantastic job, and I know they would have done a great job this year. It's always a huge sacrifice, especially in the spring. Big thank you to Lori Gruber as well for everything that she does, and of course all the baseball parents. You make my job very, very easy. This year we had 32 players out for baseball, which is a program record, and we were really looking forward to working with and developing a bunch of new guys. But of course we only got to practice for 2 weeks, and that's just the way it was this year. Our returners, we're looking forward to competing for more championships, and I don't think that there is any doubt that this year's team would have been favored to go on and do some great things this year. And I told people that asked, I usually like to really undersell and over-deliver, but to anybody that would listen, I thought it was going to have to take somebody that was very good and very lucky to knock us off this year. But it never happened, and I regret to say that 2020 will always be kind of an open wound for a long time for us. With that being said, I would like to talk about last year's 2019 state championship team, because last year we did the banquet and their season was still going on. The varsity finished the regular season last year at 21-3, and the 2019 team was Big 7 League champs, back-to-back regional champs, and back-to-back state champions. Statistically, they accomplished everything that you could accomplish. But on top of that, they were also a joy to coach. The seniors and other leaders on the team made things very, very easy for the coaches. They were a very team-oriented and team-led team. They took care of things both on and off the field. Our goal always to get better every day, and they did. Goal at the end of the year was to get better every day, like I said, and be playing our best baseball come regional time, and they did that. We peaked at the right time. I'm now going to recognize the postseason honors for the 2019 state championships about the Blue Jays. Braden Argabright, first team All-League Big 7 pitcher, first team All-League Big 7 infield. Gabe Garber, first team All Big 7 outfield. Joe Gruber, first team All Big 7 infield and honorable mention Big 7 pitcher. Drew Schmelsley, All Big 7 first team utility. For all state honors, Joe Gruber, Kansas Association of Baseball Coaches, first team All-State shortstop. Sports in Kansas, first team All-State infield. Gabe Garber, Kansas Association Baseball Coaches, first team All-State 3A outfield. Sports in Kansas, first team All-State 3A outfield. Braden Argabright, Kansas Association of Baseball Coaches, first team All-State 3A pitcher. Sports in Kansas, first team All-State 3A pitcher. Joe Gruber was named the Kansas Association of Baseball Coaches Player of the Year and the Sports in Kansas 3A Player of the Year. Drew Schmelzley was the Sports in Kansas First Team All-State 3A Utility. Jalen Wordley, Sports in Kansas Second Team All-State 3A Pitcher. Jake Longabaugh, Sports in Kansas Second Team All-State 3A Infield. And like I said before, Joe Gruber was Sports in Kansas Player of the Year as well. The 2020 senior class is the class that were freshmen when we started the program. In 3 years, obviously not counting this lost season, they were 57-13 with 1 league championship, 2 regional championships, and 2 state championships. You really can't do much better than that. Thank you very much for the seniors. Thank you very much to the seniors. Thank you.
Our track team brought home several state medals last year. This year they had over 50 kids that were out for track this year, but like our other spring sports was not able to compete. Here to talk about last season is our head coach, Dave Remmers.
Since this banquet occurs before the end of our season, I would like to highlight performances of our athletes that competed at the state track meet last year. In the girls 4x400 relay, Hattie Lukert, Morgan Schutte, Kenley Schutte, and Skylar McAfee placed 10th place. In the boys 4x8 relay, Braden Cox, Henry Glenn, Caden Dillon, and Charlie Bestwick took 8th place. Our girls 4x800 relay took 2nd place, and that relay consisted of Hattie Lukert, Hunter Loudermilk, Jaden Dorn, and Skylar McAfee. In individual events, Elliott Strom took 11th in the shot put. Andrew Frazee was 10th in the 110-meter high hurdles. Henry Glenn was 9th in the 800-meter run. Hattie Lukert was 5th in the 800-meter run. And Mason Ingleton took 2nd place in the 110-meter high hurdles and 3rd place in the 300-meter intermediate hurdles. No one could have predicted this track season playing out as it did, or in reality, as it didn't. So many dreams and goals were left unfulfilled. If there is any comfort in this, it happened all across the country. Our thoughts especially go out to all the seniors who missed out on the final opportunity to pursue that elusive performance. Our coaching staff was excited to work with everyone on the team this year. However, all we accomplished was checking out clothing for the season. We were unable to have a single practice, but the anticipation of bigger and better things from last year was in the air during this time. Although the lessons from competition were absent, there are a few things that can still be learned. First one is take nothing for granted, whether it's the sports you compete in, the friends you see on a daily basis, or your family. Second one is set goals to accomplish something and improve yourself on a daily basis while you have the opportunities. And the last one, make the most of what you have and give your best effort at all times so you have no regrets when you are finished. To all the underclassmen, you still have opportunities ahead of you. Don't waste them and take the lessons to heart that were mentioned above. To the seniors, our only regrets come from what you would have accomplished as a result of the effort you put forth. However, the satisfaction and pride we take away from what you have done in previous seasons are the fond memories we hold on to. As we move on from this school year, we want to wish all of you the best of luck as you pursue your future dreams and goals.
Lastly, our golf team was hoping to defend its state titles from 2018 and 19, but their season, along with our other spring sports, did not happen. After our banquet, our golf team traveled to Emporia to defend its state title. Our meet started on Monday, but was canceled in the middle of the round due to severe weather. The players drove back on Wednesday and started where their ball was marked on Monday. They finished the last 7 holes strong and were able to win by 9 strokes over Caney Valley. In Sabetha's rich golf history, our highest individual placer at any state meet was 2nd. That day we came with not only another second place finisher in Jesse Berger with a 77, but also the individual state champion in David Pearson with a 76. This was against the best 100 golfers in the state. I would like to recognize this team as they won every meet except one last year. Our varsity group consisted of seniors Marcus Funk and Jesse Berger, juniors David Pearson and Carson Euclid, sophomores Riley Leertz and Caden Leertz. This team not only won their 4th consecutive league and regional championship, but their 2nd straight Class 3A state championship. This year, we were able to have 2 weeks of practice. 13 young men came out, including 3 seniors, David Pearson, Jordan Gates, and Carson Euclid. Even though their hope of returning to state never worked out, we feel blessed for the past several years and all the great memories we were able to have. In conclusion, I would like to thank David, Jordan, and Carson for the past 4 years. You've had a great ride, and it's been a joy as a coach to watch this. To the underclassmen, please don't dwell on the past, but be driven by what lies ahead of you. Use this year's motivation to come back and be even better. Thank you. Now I'm going to recognize our seniors like we have in the past. I will recognize each sport they have participated in over the past 4 years, which ones they have lettered in. When we get to the underclassmen, you can look at the link attached to this video, and it'll have a listing of all of our juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and will show what sports they went out for and which sports they lettered in. So getting to our seniors, our first senior is Mahaley Allen. Mahaley was a 3-year letterman in cross country, a 1-year letterman as a volleyball manager, a 2-year letterman as a wrestling manager, a 3-year letterman in softball, and a 1-year letterman in track. Braden Argerbright. Braden lettered in football 1 year, basketball 1 year, and baseball 4 years. Skylar Arnold lettered in football 1 year, participated in basketball, lettered in track 2 years. Ivy Bailey participated in tennis and was a basketball letterman manager 1 year. Colby Boozer. Colby lettered in football 2 years. He participated in basketball and golf and lettered as a baseball manager 1 year. Madison Cochran. Madison was a 4-year letterman in cross country, a 1-year letterman in track. Marissa Cox. Marissa was a 1-year letterman in cross country and a 1-year letterman in basketball. Alyssa Dollinghouse. Alyssa lettered as a volleyball manager 4 years and a track letterman 1 year. Leah Deckinger went out for volleyball, was a 4-year letterman in cheerleading, and was a 1-year letterman as a track manager. Deborah Edelman. Deborah, 3-year letterman in tennis, a 1-year letterman as a basketball manager. Molly Edelman was a 1-year letterman as a volleyball manager. Grace Inneking. Grace was a tennis manager letterman for 3 years, participated in volleyball, and lettered as a basketball manager for 1 year and softball 1 year. Andrew Frazee. Andy was a 4-year football letterman, a 1-year basketball letterman, and a 4-year track letterman. Gabe Garber. Gabe lettered in football 4 years, basketball 3 years, and baseball 4 years. Jordan Gates. Jordan was a 2-year letterman in football, 1-year letterman in basketball, a 1-year letterman in golf. Caleb Grimm. Caleb was a 3-year letterman in football, a 1-year letterman in basketball, a 4-year letterman in track. Cody Holthouse lettered in football 3 years. Erin Howard. She participated in volleyball, was a volleyball manager letterman 1 year, cheerleading letterman 4 years, and a softball letterman 1 year. Maggie Hughes. Maggie lettered in volleyball 2 years, basketball 4 years, softball 4 years, and track 2 years. Rachel Kramer. She participated in volleyball, was a 2-year letterman in tennis, 3-year letterman in cheerleading, a 3-year letterman in softball. Charlie Kinsey. Charlie participated in golf. Nicole Kinsey. Nicole was a 3-year letterman in volleyball. She participated in basketball, was a 1-year letterman as a basketball manager, and a 3-year track letterman. Rachel Kinsey. Rachel participated in volleyball, was a volleyball manager 1 year, and a track letterman 1 year. Sophia Kinsey. Sophia lettered in volleyball 2 years, basketball 1 year, and softball for 3 years. Jake Longabaugh. Jake lettered as a basketball statistician 1 year. He participated in basketball and was a 3-year letterman in baseball. Walker Loudermilk. Walker lettered in football 3 years, lettered in wrestling 4, and track 3 years. Amelia Martin. Amelia participated in volleyball and basketball and was a 1-year letterman in softball. Amber Minold. Amber was a volleyball participant and lettered in tennis 2 years. Denver Minold. Denver lettered in track 1 year. Kinsey Minold. Kinsey was a 3-year letterman in tennis. She participated in basketball and was a 4-year letterman in track. Cody Meyer. Cody lettered as a football manager and basketball manager for 4 years, and he also participated in track. Olivia Meyer. Olivia lettered in tennis for 3 years, lettered as a basketball manager 3 years, and track for 2 years. Peyton Michael. Peyton lettered in volleyball 2 years, basketball 3 years. She participated in softball and was a 3-year letterman in track. Braden Mitchell. Braden was a football letterman for 3 years, a wrestling letterman for 3, and a baseball letterman for 2. Emily Murchison. Emily lettered in tennis 3 years. David Pearson participated in basketball and was a 4-year letterman in golf. Gracie Robinson was a 3-year letterman in tennis and participated in track. Micah Romines. Micah lettered in cross country 3 years, football 1 year, and track 4 years. Mariah Russell. Mariah lettered in football 4 years, participated in basketball, lettered in cheer for 2, in track for 1, and was a letterman in softball for 2 years. Foster Sainer. Foster lettered in football 1 year, participated in basketball, and was a 1-year letterman in track. Kinley Schutte. Kinley was a 2-year letterman in volleyball, a 3-year letterman in basketball, a 1-year letterman in cheerleading, and a 4-year letterman in track. Morgan Schutte was a 3-year letterman in volleyball and a 3-year letterman in basketball, a 1-year letterman in cheerleading, and a 4-year letterman in track. Jesse Schaefer lettered in track 1 year. Ainsley Smith participated in tennis and was a cheerleading letterman for 1 year. James Stone. James was a football letterman for 1 year, participated in basketball, and lettered in track 2 years. Vivian Strom. Vivian participated in volleyball, was a wrestling letterman for 1 year, and a track letterman for 1 year. Hunter Terrell. Hunter lettered in track 1 year. Colby Tinkling lettered in football 3 years, wrestling 3 years, was a wrestling manager letterman for 1 year, participated in track, and was a baseball letterman for 1 year. Carson Euclid. Carson lettered in football 3 years, wrestling 3 years, and golf 3 years. Bree Voos. Bree lettered in tennis for 3 years and track for 3 years. Olivia Warren. Olivia lettered as a tennis manager for 3 years, a basketball manager for 3 years, and she also participated in basketball. Janelle Winger. Janelle participated in volleyball, was a 2-year letterman in tennis, participated in basketball, and was a 1-year letterman as a track manager and a softball manager. Hannah Wertenberger lettered in tennis 3 years, basketball 3 years, and track 4 years. Hannah Whitaker lettered in tennis 3 years, basketball manager letterman 3 years, and track. Zach Uni participated in baseball. That's a listing of all of our seniors. We'd like to congratulate them on 4 years of great participation and representing Sabetha High School in a class manner. As I said, to see the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, please attach or open up the attached link, and it'll show a listing of every one of their sports they went out for and which sports they lettered in. Next, Marvin Kohlmeyer will come forward to present the Marvin Kohlmeyer Scholarship. This award was started in 1997 to honor Coach Kohlmeyer, who taught and coached at Sabetha High School for several years. This scholarship has the following criteria. A student athlete must have a certain GPA, must be someone who is not necessarily an athlete, but who could be a band member, a student manager, or cheerleader. This person displays a positive attitude and sportsmanship and contributes to overall school morale. This person must display a willingness to be actively involved in Sabetha High School activities. This student must also have plans of continuing their education after high school. Now to present our 2019-2020 Marvin Kohlmeyer Scholarship winner is Coach Kohlmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Berger. Once again, this is always one of my highlights of the year to be able to come and present the Kohlmeyer Scholarship, which was presented to me on my retirement in '97 by the Booster Club, and to be able to honor a boy and girl from Sabetha High School who has excelled in all types of academics and activities, not just athletics. So today and this evening, I'd like to present to you the winner of the, first of all, the girl, and this is going this year 2020 to Kinsey Mennel. Kinsey, the daughter of John and Wendy. Kinsey, congratulations. And the boys' winner this year is Cody Meyer. Cody, the son of Ryan and Anita. And Cody has been manager for our teams for almost all of his years here at Sabetha High School. Maybe one of the best managers we've ever had. So dedicated, so sincere, and so involved in our programs here at Sabetha, and also so many other activities. Congratulations, Cody.
Nick Harling will now present the Morrill and Janes Bank Scholarship to the senior boy and girl career athlete. Our senior athletes are chosen from a 3-tier criteria system. The first tier requires each student to fill out a form that highlights their 4-year career. Students receive points for participation in each season and their honors during those seasons. The second and third tier takes those students who are in the top 3 points earned, or anybody within 20 points of those leaders. Those candidates are then chosen by number 1, the head coaches of each sport, and number 2, all other seniors who were out for a sport this year. The 3 are tabulated to determine your athlete of the year. Now to present our 2019-2020 senior award winners is Nick Harling.
Morrill and Janes Bank is proud to introduce this year's winners of the Male and Female Athletes of the Year for Sabetha High School. This year's female winner is Maggie Hughes, and the male winner this year is Gabe Garber. Congratulations.
I'd like to, first of all, start off by saying this has been one of the most unusual springs that almost anyone has gone through, but particularly for me, I'm 77 years old, and losing out on the opportunity to have our sports and activities this spring season, and not having the Final Four, and not having the Masters Golf, and all of the things that have been disappointing. And so it brought me back to nostalgia and thinking about my first year of coaching. A lot of you don't know a lot about where I grew up, but I grew up in Washington County, just exactly 2 counties west, in a little town of Enosdale. And I went to a little one-room school for 8 years in our pasture called Consolidated 23, and crawled under a barbed wire fence. We had no activities, no sports. Only thing we did at recess is play run-through tag. And the teacher would take us out there and put all the kids on one side of the fence, and one person, the best athlete in the class, was It. We called him It. And she'd blow the whistle, and we all had to run across the field to the other side and try not to get tagged or touched. And if you got tagged or touched, you stayed out with It. And then she blew the whistle again, and you ran to the other side of the field, and everybody tried to avoid getting tagged or touched. If you got tagged, you were It until there wasn't anybody left. And I got real good at that game. We played it every day at morning recess, afternoon. But then we went to Morrowville High School my freshman year, the Morrowville Bulldogs. And I had never played football. My brother Larry was on the football team, a senior. I didn't even know what a football was. I thought it was an old basketball just laying out in the weather. First football game I ever saw I played in. And so the principal had a meeting in the gym, and he gave us the rules, regulations for the school year, and dismissed the girls and said, I want all the boys to stay. The football coach came in, and he said, all right, boys. He said, we don't have enough boys out for football to even have a 6-man team this year. So we need all of you to come out. Well, I wasn't going out. I was the same height I am now, 6'2". I weighed 140 pounds. I had to run around in the shower just to get wet. But my brother Larry told him I was the run-through champion from Enosdale, Kansas. And so he made a tailback out of me, and we didn't have so many practices without pads. First day, he just made me a tailback. They handed me the ball. I went around the right side trying to avoid getting tagged or touched, and wham! 4 guys hit me from 4 different directions and just knocked me out. Well, Larry had told me, if you get knocked out, the coach is going to come out, and if you don't want to go back in, don't give him your real name. And so I woke up finally, and he said, what's your name? And I said, Rumpelstiltskin. And he said, that's right, now get back in there. And So handed me the ball again. I went around the other side trying to get avoid, tagged, or touched. Wham! 4 guys hit me again and got knocked down again, and I this time just laid there. I didn't even pick up my head. I was getting smarter. I'd figured out it was the ball that was attracting him. And so then I went in to see Coach after practice, said, I don't want to be on the side that has the ball. I want to be on the side that is trying to get the ball. So he made a defensive nose guard out of me, put me right over the center, and he gave me one rule. He said, when that guy moves the ball, you pop his chin with your forearm as hard as you can. And I wasn't a mean guy. And I didn't have a good memory. So every play he'd holler, Kohlmeyer. I say, what? He'd say, when he moves the ball, pop his chin. And so I'd pop his chin. And I got to tell you, when you hear that chin pop, it kind of gives you a warm feeling. And so that's all the football I knew. And so my first job was at Rock, Kansas. Little town, southeast Kansas, south and east of Wichita. And I was going as the new basketball coach. But I didn't know in a little 1A school that you didn't just get to be the basketball coach. You had to coach baseball, track, football, head coach of everything. And worst of all, I didn't know that they hadn't won a football game in 40 years. 9 times 40, 360. You figure it out, Woody. You're good at counting. They had not beaten anyone. They had not tied anyone. They had not frightened anyone in 40 years. In fact, it had gotten so bad that the old-timers used to gather down at the barber shop and talk about the big year in 1958 when Rock Bottom started the game with 3 consecutive first downs before they fumbled. And these old-timers would get misty-eyed and start crying and saying, we were in that game till the last 44 minutes. And so they had a poor attitude and a poor morale at Rock High School. And so it wasn't just because of the record. Part of it was because of their mascot. They had a chicken for a mascot. Everybody else had a mean animal. A bear, a lion, a tiger, a blue jay. You've seen blue jays, how they protect at the bird figure, drive the other birds away, and how when they have a nest, if you go close to that nest in a tree, they'll come down and attack you. Fierce. But they had a yellow chicken. Its school colors were yellow and pale. And it's demoralizing when you have your players out there playing their butts off. And all at once the yell leaders are going, hold that line, you chickens! Hold that line, you yellow chickens! It's not inspirational. He was a kid by the name of N.T. Sharp. And I don't know what those initials stand for to this day. But after coaching him for a season, I think they stood for not to. Well, I checked out equipment to 19 and a half boys the first day, and I lost a player the first day just checking out the equipment. I handed a player his helmet through the checkout window. And he said, what's this? And I said, a helmet. And he said, where do you put it? And I said, on your head. And he said, why? And I was a first-year coach, and I hadn't coached much football. I lost my patience. I screamed at him, because you're going to hit somebody with it. Well, the kid fainted right there on the locker room floor. We had to get the med kit out and take ammonia capsule out and revive him. He and his folks left town next day. Never saw him again. But after the first week, I began to see what kind of a team we were going to have. Over on this side of the line, now stay with me here, I had a weak side guard and a weak side tackle. And over here now, stay with me, a miserable side guard and a miserable side tackle. And over here, we had a tight end. And fortunately, this end on the other side didn't drink. And then at center, I put one of my best athletes, but I didn't know till later he was ticklish. And then in the backfield, we had a draw back and 2 tailbacks. I called them tailbacks because I had to keep hollering, get your tails back on the bench. And then at quarterback, I put my best athlete, a good German kid by the name of Alex Slippendown. He could run the 50 in 11 flat. Now, we timed him in 50s back then, Garrett, not 40s. And then the first game was going to show up. And the Booster Club was excited. It was a new year, new coach from Maraville, Kansas, had played 6-man football for the Bulldogs of Maraville, and maybe they could win their first game in 41 years. And so they formed a big fan tunnel from the locker room doors all the way down to the goal post. And the cheerleaders made a big banner with a big yellow chicken right on it. And a fierce chicken, even had its teeth showing. Carson, you may need to explain this to some of the city boys and some of the girls. And right above the chicken were the words Peckham. It was inspirational, and they held it, though, right in front of the goalpost post. And slipping down led my team down through that tunnel, and he hit that post behind that banner, and he just knocked him out. And the whole team stacked up right there. It is demoralizing for your team to have to go around a banner. But the cheerleaders were happy. They didn't have to redo their banner. And then at halftime, I didn't think it was that bad. We were behind 56-0. And then we went in for halftime, and I think I may have given the best halftime talk I've given in my entire life. All but 2 of the boys went back out for the second half. And then the wheels came off. Everything went south. The other quarterback and team wasn't going to mess with us anymore. The quarterback would just drop back and throw a Hail Mary pass. They were a Catholic school that recruited kids, and they were good. And the receivers would just run as fast as they could and catch the football and go to the 3 times in a row, right over my safety. I put my best athlete, Alex Slippendale, the quarterback, at safety, and they threw over his head 3 times in a row, and I lost my patience again. I hollered, loosen up a little bit, Slippendale. Well, he started doing jumping jacks, side straddle hops, and I hollered, no, time. He looked at his watch, and by the time he figured it out to get a timeout, they had scored again. And then during that timeout, I made the biggest mistake I had made all night. I decided it was time to put NT Sharp into the game. I called for him 3 times. He was sitting down on the ground at the end of the bench because he had missed the bench when he sat down. And I got him over there after calling him 3 times, and I said 3 things. Number 1, NT, put your popcorn down. I said, and number 2, change your shoes. He had them on the wrong feet. And he said, Coach, these are the only feet I got. And I said, number 3, turn your helmet around. He had the nose guard sticking out the back. First year coach, that's my mistake. I should have told him to take it off first. But no, he tried to turn it on his head. He boogered up his ears, something fierce, turning that helmet around on his head. With a kid like this, you just don't take anything for granted. And so I picked a football up out of the ball bag, and I held it up in front of him, and I said, NT, what is this? Well, I could see the way his eyes just glazed over. And I said, okay. I said, I'll make it a multiple choice question. A, it's a bus. B, it's a giraffe. And C, it's a football. He got it on his 3rd guess. And then you just can't take a chance. I put my arm around him. People thought I liked him. But I was pinching his little neck. And I said, NT, can you pass this football? And he said, I think so, Coach, if I can swallow it. And so I knew I couldn't put him in on offense, and I said, okay, I'll put him in on defense. I said, now when you play, I want you to hit the man with the ball. Well, I picked myself up off the ground and dusted myself off, and I sort of shook him by the shoulder. I said, when you get in the game, NT, and I gave him a little push, and he hit the chalk line and stumbled. He was quadruple threat, stumble, fumble, sprawl, and fall. And as he ran onto the field, the other quarterback was just dropping back to throw another pass, and the whole team saw him stumble out there, and the quarterback started giggling, and he lost muscular control, and instead of passing, he just kind of floated it out there, and it landed right in Slippendale's hands. He had never intercepted a ball before. He just stood there looking at it. And I said, Slippendale, run! And all the other team's players had fallen down from laughing. And so he took off, and I hollered, no, this way! And he reversed his field, and he was headed for Rock Bottom's end zone. Looked like the first touchdown. I started to raise my arms, and then out of the corner of my eyes, I saw NT closing in on him. And so I call that my experience at Rock Bottom. Now, I know some of you were so looking forward to these seasons of three-peats in baseball and golf. But I want to tell you, in my situation, I almost wish that season had gotten canceled.
At this time, we're honored and privileged to have another special guest tonight. From Kansas City, the Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick will give a few words of encouragement as we all had a disappointment to the end of our spring season. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce Patrick Mahomes.
Thank you, Mr. Berger. This is indeed an honor for me to come out here to a school of Sabetha High School with great tradition of community, coaches, administration, players, and excellence. I'm going to take off this mask right now. I wanted to come out and be correct with the wearing the mask and being social distance here. I want to express how disappointing this had to be for the school here that had two-peats in football and baseball and golf, and how the football team this year still came back and won the Big 7 league. But baseball and golf kind of lost their opportunity, and the medalist, David Pearson, also lost his opportunity to repeat. So I want to just express my disappointment of a year ago, when I also was disappointed when we lost to Tom Brady and the Patriots, and that sent me back with my team and how we decided and dedicated ourselves to the 2019-20 season and came out Super Bowl champions, 54. And so I am here to encourage you to look to next year. Don't look behind. This too shall pass. Congratulations to all of you athletes here at Sabetha High School.
This concludes our 2019-2020 athletic banquet for this year. We appreciate you joining in tonight, and we're also thankful for everything all of our student athletes have done this year, all of our coaches have done this year, and all of our volunteers. We look forward to seeing you this coming year, and we also look forward to another great season as a Sabetha High School booster, athlete, and coach in 2020-2021. Have a great evening.